All right, welcome back, guys. As you know, Brandon with Brand on Next. One thing I wanted to talk about today is basically how to start a business. But I don't just want to talk about how to start a business. I want to talk about the mindset and the mechanicals that go with starting a business as well. All right. First thing you have to decide is whether you want to start a business. That comes with a lot. So think about that before you make that decision. Now, one of the people that I get my inspiration from is Ronnie Coleman, and he has this quote that says, everybody wants to be a bodybuilder, but nobody want to lift no heavy ass weight, right? And when you break that down, what it's really saying is that everybody wants to start a business, everybody wants to do the thing, but most people never do. And I wouldn't say it's because they're lazy or they don't have the drive. I would say it's two things: it's the mindset or the mechanics behind it, right? So first is the mindset. When I launched my own stuff like Who Be Gone or Brand on Next, I realized real quick that nobody's gonna save me. Like it's all on you. What time you're gonna start? You know what I'm saying? Everything behind it. How much time you're gonna put to each task. All that is determined by you. So you're the one that's prioritizing things. So you have to think about that as well, right? So you're not gonna have any boss. There is no guaranteed check, and there's no one telling you what to do. So that leads to like the mindset piece. You have to develop that essentially, right? So decide whether you want to actually be a business owner. If you want like instant money or freedom from like day one or working whenever you feel like it, then I would say that being a business owner probably isn't for you. Okay. Um, Business doesn't give you freedom at first. It gives you responsibility, consistent responsibility, right? Number two would be you have to accept that being a beginner again, like you're starting from the ground. So you got to lose your ego. Whatever status you've acquired within the corporate or whatever within any industry you're in, you may have to let that go a little bit. All right, and you're gonna have to go based off of what you know now. But the people don't know what you know. Most times businesses don't work because the people don't know about you, right? So you're not gonna get that prestige that you may have gotten from the other industry that you were once in, right? You have to be okay to begin again. You might be great at what you do, but as a business owner, you're learning like marketing, pricing, customer service, taxes, stuff that you didn't have to worry about when you're working for somebody else. A lot of people quit right there because their ego can't handle not knowing everything. Their ego can't handle having to learn as you go, and their ego maybe just can't stand not being perfect from the get go. Right? It's okay not to know yet, but just don't stay there. Keep on going, keep on progressing. Every day is an opportunity to learn. I'm learning literally every day as I go. So don't stay there. The next thing is going to be that starting a business is literally like planting seeds. So you're going to have to be okay with delayed gratification. It's almost like the story of the bamboo. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but essentially, when you plant a bamboo, right, it takes 5 years essentially until that bamboo even sprouts from under the ground. And then after it sprouts from the ground in weeks, maybe even months, I think. I don't even think it's months. I think in weeks, it grows feet into the air, right? But what does that mean? That you're gonna have to nurture, that you're gonna have to cultivate, that you're gonna have to continue to be consistent with growing this seed that you planted. And you have to do it not seeing any results. Because you can't see it when it's in the ground. You have to do it just with the knowledge that if I keep on doing this, I will get results on the back end. All right. You have to be honest about the risk that you're taking. Starting a business is risky. It's all on you. You don't know what you don't know, right? But staying at a job you hate for 20 plus years, never building anything of your own, that's a risk too. Being at the beck and call of somebody else's business, that's a risk as well. What if you invest that time and it doesn't pay out in the end? The economy's different right now. A lot of things are being infringed upon, if you will, right? So think about that. Is that guaranteed as well? So if I'm going to bet on anybody, I would definitely bet on myself. So the question is more so what happens if I never try? The question shouldn't be what happens if I fail. Say is you have to have an identity shift, right? And when I say that, employees ask, employees ask, what do I get paid to do? That's what employees ask. Well, do you pay me to do that? What is my job? What is my task? But owners ask, what needs to get done in order for this to move forward? So think about that sacrifice that you're gonna have to put forward, right? Because that's totally different mindsets. Things start changing fast. All right, that's the mindset. Now let's talk about the part everyone overcomplicates, right? The mechanics, actually doing what you have to do. So motivation without direction is useless, essentially. So here's the practical side. Don't sit around saying, what business should I start? Instead, ask, what problem can I solve that people care about? You should be going into it. I see a problem and I see an avenue where I can fit in. Right? Think about it. Like I'm doing the poop be going. That's an avenue that I see a lot of people don't want to pick up dog poop. Do I necessarily want to do it? No, but that's a problem I see that I can fix, and that's something I'm willing to do because I love dogs. Right? I'm fixing a problem and I'm passionate about it because it's a small minute thing in order to bring joy to others and to bring joy to myself from working for myself, right? And understand another thing about being a business owner is before you become a business owner, you might just be self-employed. Now, when I say that, that means that business owners, they don't have to be there every day. But when you're self-employed, you do. And starting out as a business owner right now, I'm self-employed because I have to be there in order for the business to work. You don't get sick days. You don't get vacations. That has to be a sacrifice that you're willing to make before you take the step to do it. Understand that there is no paid time off when you're self-employed. Maybe when you're a business owner, but not when you're self-employed. So think about that as well. Next thing, before you build everything, validate that what the problem that you feel like you can fix is feasible. Most people do this like backwards, right? They go buy logos, LLC websites, business cards, and they never test it if somebody will pay for the actual product. So do the market research. See if you can get one paying customer first, right? Or use things that are local rather than things that you have to spend your money on. Post in Facebook groups, marketplace, Craigslist, things of that nature, right? Word of mouth, things of that nature. Next one is going to be keeping pricing simple. Start with a flat fee or a subscription. All right, know how you're going to go in the market. And once again, be competitive in the market, but don't price yourself out either. Don't make your value too low where somebody's kind of skeptical as well. Okay. When I first started on Poopygon, it was just a weekly and a bi-weekly rate. It wasn't until I got established that I actually added on commercial pricing and things of that nature. So start small and grow later. Don't worry about maximizing at first. Now, I love that you have a big dream. Yes, that's great. But start off with something that you can conceptualize, and not just conceptualize. Start off with something that you can test first. Okay. Now that we have the price, you know what you're going to charge. What you then have to do is make sure you're keeping your costs low. That's that overhead. Now, you don't need that. You don't need a fancy software, and you don't need an office. There's plenty of businesses that you can start with what you have right now. There's a previous video where I said, stop waiting. Whatever you want to do, just start now. There's ways around everything you're trying to achieve. Just start, right? Use what you have. You can use like Google Sheets. You can use Cash App, right? Square. Or there's free website builders now. AI does everything. Social media, which is now interest media. Even like cheap flyers if you want, but keep that overhead low. You don't have to be a marketing genius or pay hundreds or thousands of dollars for ads. Just get started. And word of mouth, like I said, if you have a good circle around you, that should go far as well. And if you don't, evaluate that as well, because you're now a business owner or you're thinking about being one. So you have to evaluate the people that you're surrounding yourself with too. Sometimes, well, a lot of times, your net worth follows your network. Okay, I'm gonna say that one more time. Your net worth often follows your network. So pay attention to who you're around. All right. Next one would be build the tiny systems early. Right, almost like a standard operating procedure, if you will. If you do something twice, create a system so you can maximize on that in the long run, right? You're keeping it simple right now, but go ahead and develop those systems when you find out what works, right? Save message templates, create a checklist, track your customers, things of that nature. It's just going to make your life 10 times easier on the back end if you are trying to scale that business. Next thing would be, or when you're talking about being a business owner, you have to track your numbers. This is something I kind of struggle with. There's a lot of data that you have to keep up with, a lot of it, right? You have to track what you spent. You have to track what you made. You have to track where the jobs came from if you want to be like logistically sound as well. So make sure you always have a notebook around with you. Like I always keep a notebook. I have a notebook for Brand on X. I have a notebook just for pooping on, and always be ready to yearn for more information. Okay, always ask a question just so you're able to once again track your progress and where you got the information actually from. Because you never know, you may need that network, or you may be able to thank or do business with that person in the long run. Okay. Uh, Now I know a lot of people talk about like starting LLCs and EINs and all that. Now I'm not saying don't do it right. What I am saying is worry about the legal stuff after you've gotten a customer or two. This is how you're going to make sure that you're not going into a business that's not really fiscally sound, that's not really making you any money. So worry about getting the customer. Once you start getting customers, maybe two, three, maybe even four or five, then talk about going to the LLC, getting the EIN, actually investing in your business that way, right? Get some income coming in first before you start worrying about the business bank accounts, things of that nature. In closing, starting a business isn't about being fearless. It's about being willing. Okay, willing to learn, willing to be uncomfortable, willing to move even when you don't feel ready. I was always, I was actually talking to a good friend of mine, he's known as Flair in the chair, and he said, "How you doing?" And I said, "You know what? I'm uncomfortable, but it feels good to be here because I don't know what the future has to hold for me, but I'm excited for it." And I asked him, and he said, "You know what? I'm happy for you, man, and I'm in the same place." And it feels good to know that the unknown doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be scary as long as you're willing, as I said earlier. All right. So don't worry about like the perfect time because it doesn't exist. Start small, test it out, see how it does, then adjust and grow, scale from that. All right. And if this helps you, drop a comment here. Let me know what type of business you're starting, man. I love, like I said, your net worth is going to follow your network. I'm all for business owners. I'm all for development. I'm all for growth. Let's chat. Let's do something. All right. And at the very least, go ahead and like and subscribe. All right. Appreciate y'all time. Get with y'all.